washing machine.
The owner was my.
Shut up.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a bomb that I just dropped, right?
I wish I had the DJ Clue bomb.
Yeah. Wow.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can tell, but
Yeah.
our co-host over here, John, is
Using
sick.
his sexy voice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and deep. And
Smelly Cat from from Friends. And you might hear Jackson, who's also sick, make some noises in the background. And then
JR might come out of his room because he's also
Right.
sick. The boys are sick in the house.
Yeah, everybody is sick. I have a little something, but I don't know if it's... Oh, there it is. Oof. I know. So I have a little something. I don't know if it's left over from when I was sick before, or if I'm getting what you guys got,
I
or...
want to be cool
Yeah, that's it.
like the rest of us.
And then our guest, who we were also... So this was supposed to be last Monday, but she and her kids were all sick. And then we followed suit a couple days later. So, yeah, here we are, trying it again. We'll be calling her in a few. We'll be calling her here in a few. But first, we're going to talk about a couple things. And one of those is that we're finally going to be setting up our Patreon account so that we can talk about so that we can meet some really big goals that we have coming up that we'll talk about on this episode in a little bit. And so if you want to support us, then we'll give you a couple of levels to do so. We're thinking like a $3 level, and you basically get the episodes early. You'll get them on, we're thinking Friday instead of Monday.
Right.
And then if you do the $6 level, we'll give you a once monthly sponsorship shout out. That is difficult to say, so I might rename that. But yes, we're thinking $3 and $6, and it's a monthly subscription. I assume with any other monthly subscription, you can cancel at any time. But it's basically just helping us continue to do what we're doing. Because if you know anything about podcasts, doing them weekly is a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot more than we really kind of thought it would be. But you guys love it, and we want to keep...
Didn't you talk to somebody who did a podcast?
Yes,
they do it once a month?
I was talking to a friend a customer who turned into a friend, and she has a autism podcast. It's called Disorderly Blondes. And it's to parents of autistic children. And they have a podcast, and she's been doing it about 2 years. And I was getting some advice from her. And when I mentioned weekly, she about died because they do it monthly. So they did bi-weekly at the beginning and now do monthly because even bi-weekly was a little much. Now they do have video as well. So that adds a little bit to it for sure. But yeah, she thought we were nuts doing it weekly. So, if you want to help us continue to do it weekly, we would so appreciate your love and support on the Patreon when we get that set up, which my goal is, because now that I said it and I told you guys, I need to have it done by next Monday when this airs.
Right.
And then
so it'll be live by the time this airs.
Yeah, that's my plan. I have everything else ready to go on Patreon. I literally just got stuck at the...
I got to get on the ball and figure out how to upload these things.
Yes, you do.
Patreon.
You got a week as well.
Okay.
And the other exciting news is that I am now officially an Eon partner or affiliate or whatever.
Like an ambassador or
influencer? So they call it a partnership program.
Okay.
But it's basically like an affiliate. And I'll put all the the proper, verbiage and link and stuff in the podcast group. But yeah, so it's basically just to help me continue to bring the podcast and information, to you guys, and kind of like a thank you for what we do. And obviously I would never sign up to be an affiliate of anyone if I didn't 100% actually really like them and their product. Right. So it's kind of just exactly. So it's kind of just an extra bonus, and it's just a thank you from you to me, in that you appreciate our content and want us to keep doing it, and then you can have an awesome Eon laser of your own. I have to make sure I say it properly now that I'm an official partner. I cannot butcher their name.
Although I think it's fair to say, if there's any shortcomings, this doesn't mean we're gonna gloss over them.
No. It's 100% honest and accurate, and I've never not said oh, I had this issue. I'm not saying I've never even had issues with the machine. I'm saying that when I have had them, I've been very happy with how they have worked to correct them. The customer service is absolutely amazing, especially compared to coming from Glowforge World, when you could potentially have 20 to 100 outstanding orders, and now you have to wait 4 days for them to potentially get back to you if it's a busy time or whatever. And then it's these emails back and forth, and it can take a lot of work to get an answer. It's a lot more work than just dialing their phone number and either talking to them then if they're available, or scheduling a time to talk to them to get things worked out.
Just want to be clear that this is in nowhere we're going to push their stuff or they're just
it's just an added bonus for what I did anyway. Right. It's not gonna
it's not gonna change anything.
No. It's gonna be the same thing, but just I would actually, get a referral if someone chooses to buy one.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so now we're gonna break real quick and call Jena.
And we're back
with Jena.
What's going on?
How are you guys?
We're getting there. We're hanging in there. Everyone's still kind of no one is 100% in the house, basically.
No. I still have a cough and congestion. You'll hear Jackson chime in with his little cough. And maybe JR will come out of his room.
Yeah, he has a pretty gnarly ear infection. Although you wouldn't know it. He told me, what was it, Friday night? And he said, "Mommy, my ear hurts." And I was like, uh-oh.
And that was it.
Yeah, but that was it. He would just kind of make a mention of it every once in a while. "Oh, my ear hurts." But that was it. There was no crying or
Nothing.
too much complaining or anything like that.
Messing with it.
Yeah, no. Anything. And then we took him, and then Saturday we had made an appointment, and
he was like, "My ear's all bad."
Yeah, I said, "How's your ear feeling?" And he was like, I said, "Does it hurt?" And he was like, "No." But then every once in a while he'd say, "My ear is screaming." So I think that was meaning that his ear was in pain.
Or clogged. Yeah,
something. Yeah, he didn't want to say it hurt anymore. But then we went to the doctor anyway, because I knew it probably just didn't go away, and just wanted to make sure there was no big issue. And she looked in his ear and immediately said, "Oh yeah, huge ear infection." We're like, "Oh, okay, great."
Yeah.
Aww,
So
poor
he's
guy.
Yeah, he's on meds, and he's back to acting psycho as usual.
And in school. Thank
Yeah,
God.
he finally went back to school today, and I obviously love my children, but he was home all last week, and he was sick, and then when he wasn't sick, he was just a crazy toddler running around, not listening. So I was glad to have a little bit of a break today with school.
Right. We had 2 out of the 3 stay home last week, a couple days, and that was tiring because I'm trying to make sure that they're not getting any worse, but then trying to fill orders. And, with the Labor Day being off on Monday, it was just like pushed everything into 4 days. Plus the kids were sick, and then I started to feel bad, and it was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, then I had a 500 keychain order too that I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay, how do I had pushed it as far as I could, waiting for, 1, for payment, and 2, to try and make it so that I'm not putting John to work watching the kids while he's sick.
I've been watching
as much
the kids
as
and unmasking for the past 2 days.
Yep, unmasking acrylic. Yep. So it's you do what you got to do. It's part of we were talking about pivoting, and that's part of the pivoting we had to do this week was not doing a podcast. I mean, we were originally gonna record last night and then record another episode tonight to, basically to the listeners, it wouldn't be like anything happened.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, sure we could have done it, but we would have been
rushed.
Pushing it and rushed, and, sometimes you just gotta bow out where you can and say that, okay, this one isn't gonna happen this week, and that's okay. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to take care of yourself and your family first, because if not, then you're not worth anything to anybody else.
That's right. 2 podcasts is not worth, me not being able to, be awake enough or coherent enough to take care of the sickos. So.
Yes.
So what did you want to talk about as far as like your pivot discussion?
Yeah, so the last time that we had talked that I was on, I was getting ready to go to a social media conference. And when I went, one of the main topics there was like how to pivot in a crisis, or, how those of us that started our business during COVID, because I think a lot of us kind of exploded during that time because we were, downtime, we had more time at home, or, we had more time to focus on things that, there was inside.
There was more of a market for our stuff.
Because everybody was online.
Yeah, everyone was online, and, then they had the comfort in knowing that, oh, that is right, you do make this, and I don't want to go to a store and have to find something, or I can't go to a store and find something last minute, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. So, we talked about just like how to pivot in your business and how to succeed or lead in a crisis. And, it was kind of a funny thing that one of the speakers had either gotten sick or flight canceled or something and wasn't able to make it. So the conference team that put this on, she knew some of my backstory. So she's like, hey, can you fill the spot?
Oh, man.
I'm like, sure. I literally have jeans and a t-shirt on, but sure, yeah, I'll go talk to everybody.
Yeah.
So it was, number one, it was like, okay, pivot. What do we need to do? There's not a speaker. We know Jena's story. We'll have her tell it. And how she pivoted in a crisis. So I know I had, I don't know how many months ago, maybe February, March, whatever, I had posted on That Mom with the Laser about my story and how it took something failing for me to realize, like, okay, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. Pick up your pieces and move on.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to tell a little bit about that and how it was devastating at the time, but yet we are in such a better position now than we could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
So it kind of starts back like in the fall of 2019. I was still working in the insurance industry and had absolutely no clue about lasers or anything. This is all pre-laser. And my husband and I were going to purchase a historical home and completely redo it and make it an Airbnb for a wedding venue. There was, in the same town, there was a wedding venue that is extremely popular. You have to book it 2 years in advance, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. And we were going to take this historical home, and we were going to make it like a full service bed and breakfast type place where the whole party could stay and get ready. And I have a background in photography as well, so I had like all the visions to set this up so that like basically all day you can hang out there and just do everything there.
Yeah. We
were in the process of buying it. The loan only needed a couple more things to close, but we I'll get to the point how we knew the person that owned it. But anyways, we knew the person that owned it, and she said, hey, there's no need to wait. You've got the idea, you've got the time, the money, just do it. Go ahead and start on the construction. Go ahead and, start tearing everything out, because my husband and I were doing all the labor.
Yeah. So
we started gutting the entire home. To the point of we could see studs.
Right.
And tore out floors, drywall, wallpaper, appliances, everything. And
oh no,
the loan.
Right, I wonder how many people listening are like, oh no, don't start yet.
Right.
And then, so we had, probably 2 months of working in this place, and just every day, every night after work, we were both still working our full-time regular jobs, so we would go there and meet there, and our kids would have dinners on the floor there, and this was a full commitment. We were all in. And the house needed electrical work done, so that was what the loan was waiting on, because it had to be a certain up to code before it could close and everything. So we had the estimate to get that done, and the owner had said that she would split that with us. And then she changed her mind and said that she would pay a little bit more than half, which, really was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So it was the day the electrical contractors were going to start work, and they said, hey, everything's ready to go. We just need a down payment to get this started. Well, the owner decided that's not what she wanted to do, and she wasn't going to follow through with what she said she was going to pay. So it was a huge disappointment, and I said, we've put everything in this that we possibly can, and it's only fair that, you follow through with your part of the deal, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it got bad real quick, and we decided that we needed to back out of our contract because the owner was not going to fulfill her part of the deal.
Right.
And while I was working in there, I was literally covered in wallpaper scraps and mess. The owner was upset and actually had called the police on me and said that I broke into the home, and it got that ugly that quick.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, I have a purchase agreement, everything's fine. If somebody would like to break into my house and remodel it, please have at it, but I'm not doing anything wrong. So anyways, we did back out of the contract, and of course, she was extremely upset, and she tried to bring a lawsuit against us for.
So what did she think was going to happen? You backed out on your end, and you expect us to still fulfill our end? That's not how this works. It's not how any of this works.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
oh man.
Yeah, it was a mess. So. So she tried to bring a lawsuit against us about, because we had already done all this to the house and whatnot.
Right.
And nobody would really take her case because it was just such
a mess.
Just nonsense. For lack of clean words.
Right.
And so we went through all that, and it was extremely difficult because the owner was my grandma, my biological grandma.
Shut up.
Yeah, so there's a bomb that I just dropped, right?
I wish I had the DJ Clue bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
So in the beginning, when we started this whole process, it was like she could not be more happy for us because,
Right.
this was her home for the last 30 years. And I had all the historical documents on this home. Like, this home was the first hotel in the area.
I'm just still trying to digest that your grandmother tried to sue you.
It called the cops on me, right?
Oh my God. Like, well, and how much was this electrical? Like, was it like...
It would have been $13,000.
Oof, yeah, so a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So, right. So she really didn't have a case, but yet at the same time, I had all of my paperwork and all of my documents. And, I'm just still devastated over the idea that because what we had, and I had already prepared everything with Airbnb.
Yeah.
I had beds bought, furniture bought, linens bought, everything.
Yeah.
Everything bought. And it didn't go through. Return all that and try to explain to people, hey, this isn't going to go on anymore. We're not doing this. And the whole town was excited for what it could have been. But needless to say, it didn't go through. And we were just preparing for this great big lawsuit that I had everything documented.
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I going to do? This is insane. I cannot even believe that this is happening. So as time went on, I just made sure I kept everything documented. But as time went on, it all passed and nothing ever came about it, except for the fact that I knew that it could have been something amazing.
Right.
And I had put so much motivation and energy towards it that was probably the bigger letdown to me because I knew what it could be.
Right.
So I had to take that crisis or that failure that literally crumbled through our hands, and I had all this like motivation and momentum to do something else. And right then is when COVID hit, and I stayed home with my kids who, our schools shut down in March, I think, of 2020. And so I stayed home, and that's when I started sewing face masks because...
Oh, right. Yeah, we talked about that. On the first one, yeah.
That's how I got started in all this, is I needed something to cut my mask faster, and that's how I found the Glowforge and whatever. So I feel that just because, something might not be going the way you thought it would be, or the way that somebody else's business is going, do not let that stop you from pivoting and just changing it up a little bit and take that same momentum, take that drive and apply it to something else.
Right.
Because I could not imagine if I didn't go through that loss or if I didn't go through that devastation, I don't think that I would have been near as tough or as ready to work as hard as I am. Right. And as motivated as I am to succeed in this business where I'm at now. I mean, I'm closing in on 1 year and we are on target to hit over 100,000 in sales.
That's awesome.
So in our first year of business, and that's just unheard of, So I just think everybody's always asking me, like, how in the heck did you do this in 1 year? I'm like, I had a whole lot of steam and power behind me to start this because I knew no matter what, I was not going to let this crumble through my hands.
So I'm curious, as probably many listeners are, what's the house situation now? Where's the house sitting at? Is it gutted still?
So when we pulled out of the contract, it sat vacant for a couple more months, and a realtor then got a hold of it and put it up for sale. And then it did sell, I think in September of 2020, to a family that actually moved in as their primary residence. So I'm not sure if I don't know what they did, like as far as fixed it up or whatever, but I still have like all the documentation and historical pieces on it. And I don't know what it's going to take. Like, I literally just drove by it tonight. It's in another town, but I had to go through that town for something. And I looked at it and I said, I don't know what it's going to take for me to just go up to that doorstep and hand her these documents. I mean, these documents date back to the 1800s, and she really, or whoever lives there, they need them, and it should go with the house. But I don't know what it's going to take for that chapter
for you to
be
close. Ready for that.
Yeah. But it was devastating.
You'll know when. And it'll be in time.
I hope it just is like a light bulb that goes off and is like, nope, this is it. This is the time. But until then, I'm not sure.
Hey, I mean, it's still really fresh. I mean, if you think about it, it's only a year, and it has the extra salt of it being a family member. So, definitely, give another business tip, give yourself some grace and let yourself, feel what you want to feel on this. And there's no reason to rush.
Yeah. And who knows if you would have been where you're at now with that business.
Exactly.
Right.
But you'll know when you're ready to.
That too. Yeah, we say that too, because with COVID, Airbnbs shut down.
Right. And weddings, venues shut down.
I don't know. Oh, right. Yeah. There was no wedding venues there. Right. And
so you would have been sitting on this investment.
Truthfully, it was definitely a blessing in disguise. But man, it hurt.
So
it hurt
John
so
and I
bad.
actually lost out on a house a long time ago, right around the time we were getting married. We were a week away from closing, the one that was down the street from my mom.
Oh, right.
And it was just we had this really terrible lender, and we didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
But she was kind of just she was forcing the deal to happen. And then there was we'd hit one hurdle, and then we'd figure out that hurdle. And then almost immediately there'd be another one. It was okay, you managed to make this happen. Now you need to have, what was it, 10,000 in the bank or something like that? And you only need it until closing, so you can borrow it from a family member. And I'm like, we don't have those family members.
Yeah, no, it was also borderline shady. You only have to have it for the closing.
And then we would manage to get some part of it, and then it'd be oh, just kidding, now you need this. So it just kept leveling up into the ridiculousness of it. Mm-hmm. And there was some repair that needed to happen in order for the close to go through, and I think it's siding and roof or something like that.
Probably, yeah.
And we were already pouring money into this thing to make it happen and to make it so that we qualified. And then they were oh, well, the owner can't afford to was this the house that we wrote the letter to and everything? I think so.
Yeah, I remember that house now.
It was huge.
I was thinking of another house.
2,500 square feet, 3,000 square
feet
that house. With the basement. Yeah, I mean, we really liked it, but that was the problem, was that we liked it so much. We were forcing it to happen when it really just didn't need to happen.
There was a lot of that in this too, because it was the idea and the plan was so amazing that it was
you just wanted it so bad you were overlooking exactly and we were overlooking red flags, and we didn't even really notice how shady this lender was until the end. And then thankfully those homeowners ended up having to back out, because then we didn't have to back out and find a reason in order to get what is it, what do you put down, the earnest money or something like the escrow. We got that back no problem, because they ended up being the ones that had to back out. And we really shouldn't have been doing it anyway, because I mean, it was literally the week before our wedding we found out we weren't moving, and it was just it didn't work out, but it didn't work out for good reason. We ended up waiting and getting something later, and then ended up getting a really good deal on a house. I don't even know how much later. Probably about 6 months or so, 4 to 6 months. And it worked out great.
When it's all going on, when it's all happening,
it's during it's devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kept driving by the house.
Like, yeah, we were so sad, you know, because we have this house and we had all like you have these plans for it, just like you had these plans to, oh, I'm gonna do this to this room and we're gonna do this to this room,
right,
and
you see yourself living.
Yeah,
there.
and mind you, we were in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo that was like 970 square feet. Yes, with 2 roommates, so 4 adults.
Oh God,
4 adults, 2 dogs. And, you know, this house was almost 3,000. Okay. You good? This house was almost like 3,000 square feet. And it was like, man, what we can do with all of the space. And we're not on top of each other. And we can do this in this place and this room. And it was just like, you know, the thought of it was like, you know, we wanted that so bad. And then when it like just kind of fell out of our hands, and then you have to go back to this 900 square foot, you know, townhome. It's like, oh, okay, fine.
When I was still working in the insurance industry was when I was, you know, going through with this house deal, and you could see from my desk at the insurance office, you could see this house. It was across the street and down the block, and you could see it. And I'm face. I'm like, I'm going to have to freaking move my desk. I can't do this. Well, it was like PTSD for real.
Yeah, this house was literally down the street from my mom.
Yeah.
Like, it not so much, like, it was thankfully not so much that if I did live there, like, she'd kind of have to go out of her way, because it was like a cul-de-sac off the way. I was thinking
about the other one that was walking distance. Remember that one? That was just up the street from your mom? It was literally walking distance from your mom's house.
But this was up the street.
This was, but it was.
Oh
different.
No, that one was literally no. Okay, yeah, I do know that one that you were talking about. We also didn't get that one, but we just didn't get the contract on that one. So yeah, there was another one that literally like she could easily drive past her house every single day just because anywhere, no matter where she was going, she could easily just drive past her house. The other one was still down that same street, but it was off. You had to turn down a cul-de-sac. So although, you know, you would be driving past it, you'd have to go out of your way to turn down that actual street. So it was like super close, but like not too close. And like thinking about it later, it was like, okay, that probably just wasn't.
It was awful to sit at my desk and see that house.
Oh yeah. And it was same with us. Every time I went to go see my mom, I'm like, let's go look at the house. And we would go look at the house to see if they fixed the siding or the roof. And they hadn't for the longest time. So, I mean, you know, they really needed to get out of the house, you know, and it sucked for them too, because they needed to get out of the house because they couldn't, I don't think they could afford to take care of the house anymore. And so, but then, you know, they couldn't sell it because they couldn't afford to get it into the condition it needed to be in order to sell it. So they were stuck.
Well, they just needed to find a buyer that would fix it.
Yeah, that's true. And at the time, it was definitely a buyer's market. So they weren't going to find somebody at that time that was willing to take the house at that price and do all those expensive repairs. Siding and roof is like, you know, 2 of the top like repairs that need to be done on a house. So.
But then, you know, because you guys didn't get that one and you're devastated, I feel like it taught you, you know, a little bit more, you know, perseverance to just keep going, and it's going to work out. You're going to find something. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people recently in some of these Facebook groups that we're all in. People are, you know, what's selling, or I haven't had a sale in weeks, and I, you know, very slow. And it's like, I don't know how to tell these people, just step back and look and see what you're doing, you know, in your process or in your workflow or whatever, and step back, reanalyze things, and just keep pushing forward and stop trying to recreate the wheel. Like, just keep everything simple and just look at it in a big picture and just keep doing what you're doing, but stop trying to reinvent things.
Right. Well, and stop just trying to duplicate someone else's bestseller, because what someone else's bestseller is not going to necessarily be yours. You know, things that may sell in your area don't sell in mine. And like, you know, things like monograms, you take those to Texas and you'll sell 50,000 of those. People don't give a shit about monograms in Florida, which is good because I hate them too. But like, you know, it's, you gotta just make sure that what you're and the other thing that I always tell people to do is find something that you actually enjoy making. If you like it and you love doing it, it's going to show in your work. You're going to be more passionate in you trying to share it with people. You're going to share it with people rather than trying to sell people. People don't like to be sold. And so, you know, if you're trying too hard with other people's bestsellers and items, like it's going to probably come off that way. And that's not attractive to a buyer. So find things that, you know, you really enjoy doing and the sales will come. And, you know, try one thing and see if that sells. And if that goes like crazy, then make several or make a new version of that same thing and, you know, pivot from there. But I think everyone just thinks that they see these success stories and they don't see any of the fails that happened before that. They don't see that, you know, you tried to sell 10 different items and none of those sold. And it was your 11th item that made it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've got boxes upon boxes of either screw-ups or, you know, I tried something and it didn't sell. And yeah, you know, people see like that, how far I've come in 1 year of my business, but they also do not see that I don't work another part-time job. This is it. I gave up everything for this. And it was either I was going to do this and make it or it was over. Like, you know, there was no in between.
Yeah.
And they don't see that the time and the 10 to 12, 15-hour days that I've put in, and they don't see the marketing efforts and the, you know, you just really have to analyze your own business and do your own thing and make it work for your customer, because your customer is not the same as mine. Even though we're all kind of in the same industry, we all have a different customer. So I feel like the motivation
even in the same city.
Is also,
I've mentioned it before that, you know, I'm friends with Mindy and Emily and, you know, so many other South Florida laser owners. And none of us do the same thing. And even if we do something similar, like say we all do cutting boards, we all do them a little bit differently and we all have different customers. Like Mindy's customers for her cutting boards are not my customers for cutting boards and vice versa. Like I did a show before I stopped doing shows. I did a show and there was another laser owner there and she had completely different items than I did, and we both had like packed tables of laser made items. And
like
there was remember? Shelly was her name, and she had none of our items were the same. We might have had like both had ornaments or something like that, but neither of us had the same ornaments. And other than that, like every item was different, and it was like it was not competition. You know, she wasn't my competition because the people who are going to like her items probably aren't going to like mine, and then vice versa. The people who like mine probably aren't going to like hers, you know, or if they do, they like different things about both of them. So, you know, it's just, even if it's saturated with laser owners in your area, you just got to set yourself apart and do something that works for you. And if you're doing the same thing that other person is doing in your town or city or whatever, then you're both going to be chasing to the bottom and nobody comes out ahead with that.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. I have a farmer's market in the town near me, and I go every time, and there's another person that has a laser. Totally different market, though. Totally different age demographic, totally different everything, totally different business model. And I get people that come up to my booth and they're like, oh, did you know that there's another person over there that does lasering? I'm like, yeah, I know, we're friends. Isn't that awesome? Like, we help each other out a lot. And they're just shocked, like, oh, you're not mad that that's competition? I'm like, no, absolutely no competition at all. We both know who we market to, and they're totally different.
And now you even potentially have a friend that if your laser is ever down, that you can hit up and be like, hey, can you help me? You know, I need to knock out this order. I need these couple things cut for me, or, you know.
Right. Or, you know, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, I had an order come in for 6 black tumblers. I had 2. I'm like, hey, do you by chance have 4 black tumblers? Yep. Right. Cool. Run over there, give them, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's great to have those people in your back pocket, but never to be competition with.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think people just need to, like, focus on what they are needing in their own business and really try to put the motivation and marketing towards that.
Yep.
Instead of constantly looking and comparing ourselves to the other businesses.
Exactly. The more time you spend doing that is less time that you're spending growing your own business and worrying about yourself. Worry about yourself.
You can't. You can't. You know, win the race while you're looking over your shoulder.
No.
If you're not looking at the finish line.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't look to see who's behind you and how close and how far.
Right.
You just got to run your race.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Because it's never going to get you anywhere by copying off of all these other people.
No. And you have to, like, kind of like if they're in the whatever Tumblr thing, then you gotta take that L and look to what's gonna be the next thing that's gonna take its place when everyone's got a Tumblr.
Either do them better, do them differently, or find something else.
Yeah, find something, because I mean, like, you can only own so many of one thing.
Right.
So once that is saturated, what's the next thing?
Right.
So just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about our big goals that we...
Yeah, you guys are pivoting, right?
Man.
Kind of. So
it kind of is. It's just are
you gonna like...
What?
Are you bringing negativity
I'm
before I even share it?
No negativity. No negativity. It's all positive. It's just, it's a lot like, when you were going to buy this laser, or like when you got the, I'm always a little more like reserved.
Yeah.
And like, you're the dreamer. And I'm more the like, okay, how are we going to make this work?
Although I did bring up a couple of the potential cons to our big.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got to see. I'm not putting all the eggs because we still have a lot. It's right now it's a dream.
Yeah.
And we got to see if and how we can make it a reality.
Yeah. I mean, if is the question. I mean, so it's not really if. We can.
It's how we're going to do it.
It's how. Yeah. It's just how and when is the unknown
Well,
parts.
also, and what compromises we have to make.
Right, for sure. So, we were talking last week, right before, I think it was even Monday, the day of the podcast. I don't even know how we got on the conversation, but John was like, you know, if I could, I would love to just do podcasting 100% of the time. So we've mentioned before that we don't just have this podcast. He has one with his best friend called The Keith and John Show. I'll give you guys a little shout out.
The Keith and John Show.
Don't ask for any more.
No. And we're behind. We're behind 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. So, anyway, he has a podcast with his best friend Keith.
Right.
And then he also said that there was another topic.
Yeah, but that's saturated.
Yeah. Well,
I looked into it, and it's a saturated market.
Is it?
Yeah. It was a dad podcast idea. But then I look at it.
So just because it's saturated doesn't necessarily mean.
No, there's 2 that are like almost what I had in mind. It's those 2. I started listening to it.
I still don't think that it's not something new.
No, I mean, I could throw my podcast in there, but it was basically just about being a dad and what it is, and what it means nowadays.
I thought it was a really good idea.
How it looks nowadays, and things that, like, as guys, it's not really talked about as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really like podcasts. I like listening to them. I like doing them.
So he already likes what he does now, which is he's a videographer for the local news
station.
And so it's not that he doesn't already love his job.
No, right.
But
I don't work.
Yeah, right. You love what you're doing.
People usually like hate going to work. I don't work.
I have to like bully him into staying home when he's sick, like this weekend. I was like, how do you feel? And he was like, well, like hot trash. And I was
having
cool.
FOMO
Maybe you should stay home.
I was having FOMO during a big news event happened locally.
Oh, when I was on
parental leave. Yeah. And I was itching like I need to be out there.
Yeah. He was dying on the inside that he wasn't at work. And it was like, and we watched a whole lot of news. Wow.
Because I love what I do.
Yeah. So it's not that he doesn't love what he's doing. But again, at the same time, having that freedom of working for yourself is you work a lot, and it's really fucking hard. But it's also really awesome to have that flexibility of, if I don't want to work today and I have everything I need to have done, I don't have to. And if I want to take like a week or two off, as long as I have myself set and maybe I, do a sale before that, or do whatever you need to do in order to still bring in money. And the way it is with me having my passive income as well with Etsy and the digital downloads, I still make money even when I'm not, quote, working.
Right.
Because it's
Isn't that an
passive
awesome feeling?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. This weekend we were camping and I can barely get signal, but it was funny. I heard my Etsy like cha-ching, and I'm like, is it physical or digital? And you look and it's digital, and you're like, oh, yes, my work's done. Right. Just got paid.
Right.
So it's so funny because it happens so much that like I kind of like accidentally, but I didn't purposely train them, but I trained you and JR that when the Etsy cha-ching goes off, JR, not all the time, but most of the time he'll yell money.
Yes.
And if he doesn't, then John does. So it's pretty funny. But, having that passive income is really nice too, because I'm definitely working on growing that so that, having that means that I can do other things and I can like not work and still, make money. I forget where I was going with that.
So we're saying all of this to say that Riley Black Designs is moving into our garage, hopefully. Yeah. So and what is Riley Black Designs now will turn into the Riley Black Project Studio.
Yeah.
So we'll
but not just for that. No. Mainly for that podcast, but also for
any other
your other podcast, and if you start the
Because you talked about you and Courtney talked about doing potentially, one possibly, but and that's something that I could like produce
because you'd have the time to do so.
Right,
yeah,
right. And I could produce that podcast, and then like you were saying, it just makes money in the background, and you don't really have to do anything. If these podcasts do get monetized, and take off, then it's the same thing. Yeah, we get ad revenue that's just coming in as whatever, and then
as
hopefully
people listen,
if our Patreon takes off and everything like that, same thing.
Yeah, we talked about briefly before we called you that in order to help us get to this goal, we set up
we're going at this point
I've mostly set it up. I just need to finish the what are they called? The sponsorship levels, I guess they're called.
Right.
So we set up the Patreon, and I just need to add those tiers, and we'll have like a $3 tier, and basically that gets you the episode on Friday rather than Monday, and then like a $6 tier, and we'll do a monthly shout out to those sponsors that did the $6 level. And what both tiers are doing is making it so that we can continue doing this weekly podcast.
Right. And then if we do get, when we get the podcast studio, we can set up stationary cameras.
I like how you fixed that.
We can have stationary cameras.
To win.
Right. And add the video element to this. Yeah. So that every week it'll be a video, and then that will probably, at least, will start on Patreon. And then, I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll move to YouTube. Maybe it won't.
I was going to say, stream that to YouTube and get followers on there, and then you can monetize it there.
Right. Well, and then, I mean, we could even do it to where, they get the episode a week earlier or something.
Well, I think
it's uploaded to YouTube like that next week or something like that.
Definitely be ahead on Patreon and
the paid, yeah.
And
but it's and sure, like there's some people who probably don't care to get it 3 days earlier, but if it's something you enjoy and you enjoy the topics we bring and the guest speakers we bring and the laser hacks and stuff like that, it's just a way for you to help us out, to help us keep grow, doing it. And $3 a month, that's like, that can't even buy you coffee anymore. What can that buy you nowadays?
Say, people spend that in one morning.
Yeah, it's your one cup of coffee.
It's not even though. Like, I guess it's a 1 cup of coffee at home, maybe. Yeah, that's true. Plain, that doesn't get you anything at Starbucks.
In Colorado, my morning 7-Eleven coffee was like $2.
Okay, see, there you go. So we just want your 7-Eleven.
One of them.
Yeah, your 7-Eleven coffee to come to us once a month so that we can hopefully make some big things happen. We're going to do them regardless, but if we can have some help along the way,
it'll just speed up the time. But
yeah. And I mean, I'm super cramped in my office. Like, I make it work. But converting the garage, not really converting it, but making it so that that's cool
where the compromise. I mean, we might have to convert it.
Yeah.
We might not be able to run it.
Just make it work how it is.
It might have to be converted.
I'm still currently working out of my garage, so yeah.
It'll be nice to have
probably
space to
I've got
like
probably
breathe.
A couple months yet. Yeah, I've got a couple months yet before I can move into my storefront. So that's also been a pivot point. Like, I thought I would be in by now. So, I've held off on some things, and it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to, do another Christmas in here. And actually this afternoon, I was talking to my husband. We have a big barn, and it's a finished barn and everything. But I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to have to move out there before the Christmas season. If I'm not in my storefront yet, like, I'm going to have to move, and we're going to just have to work out of it and just figure it out until I get in my storefront.
Right.
We expanded into embroidery. So I have 2 embroidery machines coming within the next couple weeks. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I thought I would be in my shop by now. I thought everything would be, running smoothly by now. So it's not yet. So we're just going to have to move everything into our bigger outdoor building, and it's just going to have to work. You have to make do with what you have.
You got to do what you got to do.
We talked about getting her a she shed for outside, but
I
think what makes the most sense is the garage.
The garage makes the most sense. Yeah. Like, we don't really, like, it is storage for like holiday stuff. It's really, it's just clutter. To make the house really a little less cluttered, honestly. And so a lot of that stuff we really don't need. And
that was a lot of fun when I moved to my garage. I just pitched all that.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll give the camping stuff to my Colorado homies as much as we can, and throw away what we can't sell or give away, and it'll
toss out those discolored Halloween minions.
Oh yeah.
They're all like washed out.
Really?
JR loves them, but
he does.
They're like washed out, and
I mean, but they're
we'll never know the difference.
We'll keep one.
He really won't. No, he will.
He'll only when it's up.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come back up, he'll never be like, oh, whatever happened to that minion? It's Halloween time.
I don't know. He surprises us sometimes. He notices. Well, he notices a lot, but he does.
We'll keep one and we'll put it in.
Okay.
We'll clean it up.
Don't throw away the hat rack, though. Don't throw away the hat rack yet.
Well, first the hat rack has to make. Oh, speaking of the hat rack, continue. I have a shout out to give. I just have to find it.
Who are you shouting out?
I have to shout somebody out. Don't worry.
Who?
Let's keep talking about moving to the garage. When I find it, I'll spontaneously shout them out.
We're in
no hat rack yet, though. Sadly,
we're in South Florida, so it's hot as fuck. So we'll definitely have to, like, I'll go out there because that's where our laundry is. I'll go out there just to like throw something in the washing machine, and I come back in and I'm sweating. So there's definitely going to be, adding. I think a lot of people call them like mini split, like the cooling out there.
I just read somebody was asking about that on Facebook. Like, I was waiting for your call, and I just read that. I have an air conditioner out there, but I don't think it's called anything fancy like that. Yeah. It's just like it's not a window one. It's like a stand-up one, but because Ohio gets pretty hot and humid too.
Right. And I don't know the difference
maybe 2 or 3
between
days a week, and then it might be snowing the rest of the week. But it's bipolar up here for sure.
Yeah,
but
I've heard
I definitely
the term,
have air conditioner.
Yeah, I've heard the term a lot in the groups of like people who are working in their garage and need the cooling. So we would definitely have to do that, and I have no idea how much those, cost.
I mean, and here's the other thing though. Our air vent, our AC is right there.
Yeah.
And there is attic space, like you go up
to
look in there. So, I mean, if we do end up converting it, it might almost be more cost effective to run another vent in there as opposed to adding
something else.
Right.
Yeah.
If anything, we'll add that to our bedroom. That's the hottest room in the house.
Right.
And then just
the hottest
off.
behind my office.
Well, yeah, but your office doesn't have a vent. That's why it's the hottest.
Yeah, right.
There's no vent and there's no AC vent in there.
Yeah. And then our garage has like no electrical. Like it has enough for the washer and dryer, and that's literally it.
And one more. It's the washer dryer and one more plug that I have an extension cord plugged to that runs like anything else.
Yeah, like Christmas lights and whatever.
Yeah. That's how my garage. Yeah, that's how my garage was when I first moved out there. But my husband is a high voltage lineman, so
so you're good.
Yeah, I had the hookup on that. So he put in so many more outlets and ran them to all different circuits so that I can run my heat press as I'm running my laser, as I'm running my heat transfer printer.
When we did our electrical, unplanned.
Yeah.
There's room on our box for I think there's 5 more breakers that we can put in there. So like there's room to add on electrical.
Yeah.
We just have to do it.
Right.
It's not like we have to get a whole new box or anything like that. And shout out to American Brandy.
Who?
American Brandy. Great laser. She said great laser content. I never missed an episode. Blah, 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 blah. And if Crystal would finally make Poor John's hat rack.
No, so you gotta read the other. Here, give me the. I'll read it. It's pretty good.
And it Ryan, made me laugh. I know we're strong, man. We got another one coming. I mean, the brand is coming.
Yeah, American Brandy. So I a couple weeks ago or last week, I posted in the Facebook group. Join it if you're not in it already. The Riley Black Project on Facebook and Instagram. But I was asking for some reviews. If you like the podcast, go leave a review. And this one was the title, Great Laser Content. I never miss an episode of the RBP podcast. The guests are great. John and Crystal are so much fun to listen to. And the content is very informative, engaging, entertaining at the same time. Topics from laser, life, to parenting, and everything in between. The only thing that would make this podcast better is if Crystal would finally make Poor John his hat rack.
You know what I'm saying? That's all this podcast is missing. A hat rack. You know what?
As a matter of fact, I told you around Christmas.
When I thought
you were calling out another hat rack company. I was who's this?
Not a company. Just a shout out to a person. Another one to the movement. As a matter of fact, I'm on this podcast going on record. When we get the podcast studio, if I have my hat rack, it is gonna be in the background on the video.
It has to.
My hats are gonna live in the Riley Black
It's
project.
become like a thing now.
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
So let's go. #Save John's hats.
Then when you stream it for video, everybody will be able to see it.
That's right. There's a hat rack.
And the hat racks.
And then, as a matter of fact, on the acrylic now, we need to put #Save John's hats.
I am gonna have to engrave that on there.
Hashtag that. Yeah.
When I make it sometime in December.
No. Listen, we're 3 strong now. It's just growing. The movement's just growing.
3 strong. What do you mean?
It's American Brandy, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
And
Jena.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See,
I stand behind John's hats.
Bam.
Whatever. I'll make it in December.
Keep pressuring her. Let's go.
No, my agreed timeline was by around Christmas time. So
I thought we said October. Why am I thinking that we said that? Am I making that up?
Maybe. Don't make this any sooner than it needs to be, Jena. October's not happening. Let me just throw that out there now. September is basically over to me at this point because of the things I still have to finish in September. So
yes, I know. Is September and October like absolutely crazy for you guys too? Not like business wise trying to prep for Christmas or anything like that. Like all
yes
that
and no.
aside,
So I
don't
mean,
know why it's just
well,
nuts
so
here.
July is just absolutely nuts because 3 of these boys were born in July. And so by the time you're done with July, you have like PTSD from all the birthdays. And then, so September has been crazy for me because, I'm finally like good from, having said child and everything. I'm actually catching up on orders. I've taken a couple small orders. And now I'm just really trying, like, my area is super neglected. So I'm going through and like, I'm finally getting rid of wood that I'm holding on to for no reason because I don't like using it anymore. So I just don't. And I'm selling whatever I can to Emily, who actually does like working with wood. So I'm just trying to clean up inventory and get rid of stuff that's sitting here. It's literally money that's sitting here that I'm not going to use. So even if I don't sell it for what I paid for it, it's going to get me more money in my pocket than I currently have right now with it sitting on the shelf, never doing anything, just collecting dust. So
yeah,
that's
I
why
just
I'm
put
busy.
something.
So
Yeah, I just put something out on my Facebook page tonight, like looking for somebody to help me organize my shop because I
so
have
I
got my
actually,
inventory
I
like in
had a
check.
friend who was supposed to be coming over to help me do exactly that, and then the whole house got sick. So it was like, maybe we should wait. So, and she just got over a rough episode of COVID, so she doesn't want any parts of a sick house. Yeah. So, she'll hopefully, I'm sure. And the good thing is that I'll have plenty of stuff for her to help me with, even if I finish this on my own by the time everyone is well enough for her to comfortably come by. But yeah, if I could have someone watch like the baby for a couple hours a day or have someone help me organize for a couple hours a day, it would be huge. I totally could use that assistance.
I don't even have any babies at home during the day, and it's just like I can't get away from the laser, I can't get away from the heat print or the heat press and the printers. It's crazy.
It just takes so much time to organize. Like you really need to do it, and it helps your business and it helps your productivity, and
yes,
it helps my anxiety. Like, so I've been very stressed like this last week, just with everything, with everyone being sick and him, JR being home and all that. And my solution was like, okay, I need to clean and purge and organize. Like that was how I just needed to deal with the stress, because it's like I have this stress of everything else going on, and then I can't walk through my office comfortably. And, if I need to go in there and do one thing, I have to move 10 things in order to do that one thing. And, kind of like the last episode, work smarter, not harder. And right now I'm doing the opposite. I'm moving 10 things to get to one thing. And it's like, well, if this was actually put away, or if this actually had a home, I could do that with a lot less effort and stress. So that's what I'm working on now, while I don't have a ton of orders. Then
I get in the mindset like, all that matters, and I need this organization for good workflow, and it's going to make everything better, but like I don't want to dwell there. So another like motivational piece is like, yes, that's important, but it's not going to make you any money right now. Get your orders done. That's going to make you money, or put out that new design that is going to make you money.
Right.
But don't focus too much on, keep it simple. Gotta keep it simple. You gotta come back and you gotta say like, none of this matters right now.
Right. I had to break it down in like little steps. Like the first one was like, go through and find all of like the items that I can sell, to, my followers on my normal Riley Black Designs page.
Right.
And anything that doesn't sell there, I'm then going to take to my Facebook group, Laser Me This, and sell it at wholesale prices to those laser owners. And here, like, I literally have probably 20 to 30 sets of like what I consider to be nice earrings, you know, like my designs that I tested and made into earrings. They can now take them, and if they have a store to put them in, or if they have the customer base that I don't have because I'm not pushing physical items, they can sell these things a lot easier than I can just because I don't have that following. And if they do, you know, they can get it at a cheap price from me. It's literally already assembled, ready to go. And then they just need to either, you know, list it on their website, list it on Etsy, or, you know, put it in their store. And so this way I'm not basically throwing them away or giving 30 pairs to every single person a pair of earrings to every single person I know. This way I get, you know, $6 or whatever, and they make a profit on it, and I get this clutter out of my face. Because that's another thing that has been bothering me, you know, is like, I have this, you know, cute pair of St. Patrick's Day earrings, and it's like, well, where do I put this? Like, I don't want to put it in the trash. It didn't really sell for whatever reason, or I didn't even try to sell it yet because I was literally just listing the file and just going through the effort of organizing it all and like getting it pictures. It took me all day to do it all, to get it all in one spot, to take pictures, to post it all to my stories, and then post a post to tell people to go look at the stories so that I could, you know, sell it. And it did pretty decent, but it took me all day to get to that point. And that's why you put it off is because it's like, I don't have time for that, or I don't have the energy for that, but you know, once these are gone, like, I can't wait to ship out the stuff that I sold from this last sale because, you know, it's just, it's space, and these people get like cool items for cheap, and it's not in my house anymore.
Have you thought about doing like a live sale? I feel like what you just explained, and I've done this too, like, I need to take pictures, I need to, you know, make that nice little frame, I need to make it all look nice, and then I need to post it, and it takes forever. And I did, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I needed to clean out my mobile trailer. So I took a enclosed utility trailer and made it into a mobile boutique. And it was getting kind of messy with, you know, packing up when you're ready to go from a show. It's like, throw it in. I'm tired. I'm done.
You just go.
So in the beginning, I had every tote had a very specific itemized list of what had to go in it. And, you know, where the tote was in the trailer is where it was placed up on the grid walls. So by the end of the show, it was like that. None of it stayed there. So I needed to clean it out. And when I did, I asked my mom if she could come over and help. I said, we're going to do a live sale, and we're going to unload the trailer. And as we unload it, we're going to do this live sale. It was phenomenal. So in just 1 hour, I wanted to keep it to an hour because I wanted to keep everybody's attention. In an hour, it was over $600 in sales.
Nice.
And and it was like, that would have taken me all day to post all this. And then you have to sit and answer questions of how much is that? What size is that? What material is that? Can you make this? So it was like, I think the live sale is really, really more beneficial for timing.
John's friend and co-host that we had on one of the podcasts, Riley Black, the episode Riley Black.
Is he the one that was the t-shirt order? Yeah.
So he's not the most observant. And so I posted these two cutting boards, and they said, my relationship with whiskey is on the rocks.
Yes, and I saw those.
So I posted them, and I was like, $5 each.
I'll take them, but with rum.
Yeah, he said, I'll take it, but can it say rum instead? And I'm like, that's not how this works.
They're already done.
I'm not making more. I'm selling the ones I have. And yes, no, I cannot change the word. So
yes.
Yeah, you do. Then there's the questions and stuff like that. But thankfully, he was the only question from those items. But Yeah, so after that, since I've already taken all the pictures, then it'll just be this photo dump into Laser Me This, and I really hope that just there's someone who comes along and who's like, I want all of your keychains, or, I'm going to be selling them, like, as a lot. Like, who wants these... these ornaments, who wants these, keychains, whatever. I'm not going to send it to...
Black mystery box.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
That's true. It's not a bad idea. Especially if it doesn't sell in Laser Me This. Right. That's a good backup plan of,
mystery box.
Yeah, just sell them for $10, including shipping, and you get a couple things and just throw them in. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
A $25 value at $10.
Yeah.
That's a mystery box.
Not a bad idea.
That's
I like
a good idea.
Yeah, so
I could see John boxing things in the future.
Right.
I just set myself up.
Yeah, right. You set yourself up for
500 unmasking 500 keychains. Well, 300 right now. I got another 200 to go.
Something, to go. My poor Laser. It's not used to working like this, and it was after a couple days of just straight engraving. I'd literally just set it, like take one out and then put the next sheet in and hit start again. And my Laser was like,
what's this?
What are we doing? We don't work like this.
Yeah. mine runs like that day in and day out.
And that's what I told myself. I was like, it's not going to break because people, that's what these are for. But my blower definitely, like, it changed sounds a little bit because I think it's just tired. It's like, leave me alone. Literally been running, because I ran it all day, like from morning to night yesterday. Like, from the moment I woke up to, I did one last sheet before we went to bed. Like, it was probably at least 12 hours yesterday.
Yeah, but can we talk about and appreciate how quiet it is compared to the Glowforge and how much faster?
So he actually did say that. He went out to go feed Piggy and was, like, walking around the house, and he didn't even know that my Laser was running.
I walked by the vent that's outside.
The vent that comes straight from my Laser, and didn't know that it was running.
And I heard it, and I heard it like blowing. I'm like, oh well, she was cutting earlier today, so I just thought it was like on and running, like not actually doing anything, just like kind of running or whatever. And it didn't
just
really
turned on,
and it didn't really like smell like it was actively working.
Yeah.
So whatever. Then I walk back and I glance in and I see I see the arm moving, and I'm like, oh, it's running. Yeah, like, it's running. And I walk inside.
You didn't hear the jet engine of a Glowforge?
No, I didn't, exactly. And then I walk inside, and I'm like, I can hear the TV through the door. Like, wow. Yeah. Like, this is. I'm like, your machine is like really quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, if I'm in my office, it's kind of like white noise, and I have to step out of my office to hear him, but he can still hear everything else in the house. Like, if you're in the room with it, it's not loud to where it, like, bothers you.
Well, I mean, I even hear you.
It just kind of, like,
doing, like, your voice message. Like, I hear you in your office.
Yeah. Like, you can hear everything. Me, I can't hear it because it's right behind me. But even then, it doesn't bother me. Like, it's just, like, it's like a white noise machine is on, and we have 2 of those in the house for our kids. So, like, it's nothing for me.
It filters out noise from, like, the frequencies or whatever.
Which is good for me because I caught myself a couple times, like, when my Laser is off, if I can hear what you guys are doing out here, it distracts me. Right. It's, I can hear, JR, like or, no, a lot of times it sounds like a toddler who's not listening, which he can still manage to talk over my Laser as far as that goes. But, like, if you're watching something, sometimes, depending on if it's something I actually like or whatever, I'll catch myself kind of, like, paying attention to it, and then it distracts me from what I'm doing. If I have that, like, white noise, then I'm more focused on my work and my Laser stuff. And it's night and day difference from the Glowforge for sure. Even the Glowforge with an inline fan, which takes the noise down some, it's even still way quieter than that.
Yeah. I have like a Zoom class that I do every Tuesday and Thursday for, it's usually an hour and a half, but I have no problem getting on my Zoom class, and when it's my turn to present or speak or whatever, I have my laser running in the back, and people can't even hear it and can't even tell. And I'm like, are you sure you don't, like, I've got my laser going, like, maybe skip over me until it stops or whatever. And they're like, no, we can hear you just fine. Yeah. Like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
Yeah, it's really, especially when you compare it to, the beast that is.
I just remember turning that thing off, and like you'd have like the buzz after like
oh my god, yeah,
going to a concert.
Ring.
Yeah, it'd be like
exactly.
You just went to a loud concert the night before, and nope, that's my laser.
That's no joke. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember like you running and like, well, guess I'm not watching TV.
Yeah, which I didn't know for the longest time, but he would just turn on something that I
didn't have to hear.
That he didn't have to hear, that he had like seen a million times, or and it probably meant
or like ridiculousness that's just like
where you just really need to videos, like see it. Yeah. And then you'd probably just spend your time scrolling on your phone rather than actually like watching TV.
Right, just glance up. Yeah.
And that was even with the inline, which took it down a couple
but
notches
it was still,
too.
Yeah. Nothing that I needed to pay attention to dialogue.
Right.
but with this one is...
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Yes. I'm still working on a name. Maybe I should have the group help me name my laser. I came up with a couple.
I also wanted to name mine, and then it was like, I've gotten so busy, I've never even thought twice about it. I'm like, just throw it in the laser.
Right. Well, and like, I needed something that like that fit. And so I think I chose a couple Spanish names that start with an M.
Why?
She's very Spanish. First of all, she's from Florida, South Florida at that. She is a little bit of a diva sometimes. And what else? I don't know. Her original name is Amira. So it's definitely like, female.
Okay.
Maria, I considered Maria, but that's your mother's name.
And like a million other Spanish women.
Yeah, but still. So I have some. I looked up some M names as if it was like it was back to looking for baby names all over again, but for my laser, because I feel like it needs it needs a name. I need to call it something besides like just the Mira. Everyone who has a Mira has it, but I need Heather's is Aeonce.
See, I also have
because it's also Diva.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty awesome.
I have a Mira as well. Like I have the 9, but I'm still waiting since February, but it's coming. My Nova 14. So I'm like, I need something to like go pairs.
Yeah, you totally need
Mary Kay and Ashley.
Mary Kay and Ashley, right?
Yeah, but they're so tall and skinny. They're so small and skinny that I wouldn't. These are like hulky, workhorses. You gotta maybe Bonnie and Clyde or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, she was. I was telling Heather that I needed to name it, and I told her how like the blower seemed to kind of like change tone a little bit after the like 10th sheet that I put in there to engrave. And she's like, it's probably because you haven't named it. Because I said my nameless laser or something like that. And she's like, yeah, it's because you haven't named it. That's why it's like mad at you.
It hasn't been identified yet.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I think that's us as far as what we got. Where our big plans of, moving Riley Black to the garage for more space, making a fancy podcast studio, and someday getting John to do podcasting all the time, which the cons of that is like now if everything of mine fails and crashes tomorrow, we still have his paycheck and insurance, and so those are two big things that will be scary to get rid of if and when we do that 100% sometime. So
but sometimes you just gotta take that leap.
I actually just made a TikTok today about taking that chance and taking that shot, and make sure that you do it, because even though if it fails, at least you could say you tried.
Right. Well, and we just talked about like how nice it would be to have that flexibility, one, for our kids. So as it is right now, when JR gets home from school, John leaves like about 30 minutes before JR gets home from school. And so he sees him in the morning to get him ready for school, and that's it. And then doesn't FaceTime. See him. Yeah, and then FaceTime for, 5 minutes or so right before he goes to bed. But then, it's the weekend or his days off until he gets more time. But it's like, I was telling him how nice it would be to, we work during the day when the kids are at school. And then when they come home, then it's like family time.
Right.
As much as you can't. Sure, there are going to be some days. Yeah. Like, everybody does on TV and in the movies.
Yeah, it never happens that way, but you keep telling yourself that.
But, like, it would be nice to be able to just have that freedom of, like, I don't have to work this weekend, or we can have more family time, during the week, or, hey, maybe we're not done as soon as they get home from school, but we'll plan to have dinner every night, or...
We can pause it.
Yeah.
Have dinner, do whatever, and then when they go back to bed...
And then get back to it if we need to, or... Yeah, because, again, if we're self-employed, it's not gonna just be a 9 to 5 usually kind of thing. It's usually more hours that go into it, but then we can do them when it works for us and what we want to do. And if we want to on a whim go somewhere on the weekend, we can,
or while they're on school break or something.
Yeah,
so, it would be nice.
We'll see.
You guys can do it.
Yeah, at the very least. At the very least, I think just having the more space and the podcast studio, even if it isn't your like 100% job, or maybe you go to part-time or something like that. And again, like, it's okay if that doesn't happen, but we'll see where those goals could take us. Because just even having a goal of the Etsy, my goal was only to make like $500. I wanted to pay my like car and car insurance, basically, with Etsy, is what I had hoped to do.
Right.
And I've far exceeded, that, and it took on a whole life of its own. And same with the keychain thingies and all that. Like, we will have that goal in mind, and then we'll pivot, as we need to.
See what happens.
Yeah. I'm excited.
That's an awesome plan.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If you ever need motivation, you know where to call. I'm kind of a no bullshit, no kind of excuses kind of person. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I can procrastinate when things get like difficult, or I try something and it doesn't go, how I hoped. I can get discouraged pretty easily. So I'll definitely be like reaching out when it's like, oh, okay, we tried to do this contractor and, they said $10,000 or whatever. So, just I'll need some pick me ups, or some, hit me up and be like, so where are you at on the garage movement and all that?
Yes.
An accountability partner.
Right. I was just going to say that I'll definitely be your accountability partner.
Perfect.
I've always been that like positive, motivational person, stop letting the stuff get to you and just keep on trucking. Yeah. And until your grandma tries to sue you, I don't think you have an excuse. So...
True that. That's a good. Yeah. That's a good. What do you call it? Full circle.
Yeah. Good callback.
Yeah.
That's a good callback. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, thanks again, as always, Jena. I appreciate you helping out with topics, and we'll definitely have you on again. If you have any ideas for good topics, I'm always looking for that. So.
Awesome.
Remind the listeners where to find you.
Oh yeah, where are you at?
We are at beyondlasercreations.com. We are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
How's your Instagram going?
Growing.
Growing.
It's okay. I'm still trying to post. It's really just about researching what hashtags are out there and what I need to be doing for that. So that it's going to
working effectively.
Yeah, I did start doing the TikToks as reels, so it's the same content, just posted.
Yes, that was a good little tip of mine that Jena didn't know.
Yeah. So I did implement that. That was going well.
Oh my God! Speaking of reels, can we talk about for a quick second how the one of mine that's going viral on my business? At least, I mean, it is on my business page, so I might get some like extra followers that way. But
it wasn't about
Jackson.
business or something.
It's Jackson smiling. Right. It's up to like 40,000 views and I think 2,500 likes on Instagram. And like the rest of my reels have like 1,000 or 500 or nothing. You know, they have a couple hundred, a couple thousand if I'm lucky. And every time I get on Instagram, I have 100 more likes and like 1,000 more views, and it's just, it keeps going. So I mean, and I did put the caption, well, I did make this, I made him, but he's just not a sign. You did.
That took longer than the Glowforge takes to engrave.
But it did not take as long as John's hat rack.
No.
Ooh. That's been a lot longer than it took me to cook a baby.
Hilarious. Yeah, we were just talking today, like, you know, things that could make us go viral, and we were like, but that's not business related. That's not business related.
Yep. Right. And it's a baby smiling. I put no filters. I put no editing effects on it. I did nothing except time his smile to that part that's in the song. Like literally, it was the simplest reel I've made ever, which is what I always tell people. The harder you try, almost the more it's not going to go viral or turn into anything, because the one I didn't even make, my friend made it, and she wasn't like trying to go viral. Right. She was just talking about the ornaments, and that went nuts. And I just saw somebody else make a cute video with their baby smiling to that song, and so I did one too because I had the video, and here we are at 40,000 views, and so. But hey, maybe I'll get some new followers.
Yeah, I collaborated a TikTok today with Johnson Plastics Plus, and we were both talking like, okay, like if you post it at this time, I'll post it at this time, and we'll see how many likes. And you know, like, it was funny. All I did was go there to their sale, and they're like, hey, do you got time? We've been wanting to make a TikTok with you. I'm like, sure. Yeah, I did one as a reply to their comment. I don't know, they had one up there, and I'm like, where's Steve? We want Steve. And he did one, why are you so obsessed with me? And so then I did one back, was, baby, you got what I need. And I did like all of our machines.
I think I saw that one.
Them. Yeah, that is hilarious. So you guys have your fun down there with, you know, all the laser bosses down there, but I've got JPP up here.
You do, yeah, you have that we don't, for sure.
Yes.
All right. Well,
and you can find us on Riley Black. What is it?
Riley Black Project. The Riley Black Project on both Instagram and Facebook, and we will officially be on Patreon under the same information as of next week.
Or this week when you're listening to this.
Yeah, when you're listening, by the time this is live. And I think that's all the places to
find us at. Mm-hmm. Just search for the Riley Black Project.
Yes.
See if we pop up. It's been another great episode. Thank you guys for listening.
Bye.
See ya.
Mamie, we're all done.